Hello fellow collectors and welcome to Long's Toys. Today we are taking a look at Voyager class Starscream from the Transformers Studio series from Hasbro. This is his appearance in the Transformers Bumblebee movie, and as you can see he is number 72 in the Studio series. Now originally I wasn't going to pick this guy up. I'm not the hugest fan of his alt mode. The jet has all that kind of weird stuff hanging underneath. But I went back and saw the scene in the movie, and that is actually what the jet looks like in the movie, so I can't really blame Hasbro for that. And after really getting all of the rest of the Bumblebee Studio Series figures, it kind of made me want to go back and get some more Decepticons, because there's a lot of Autobots in that line. So Entertainment Earth had a 10% off with free shipping sale, so here we are. So as you can see, I have some nice artwork here on the front. This is the older packaging, so we still have all the plastic here. Over here on this side, you get a close-up of Starscream's face. And then over here, again, kind of more of the artwork on this side. Not really anything going on the top or bottom. On the back here, we have the robot mode, and then you can see what I'm talking about with that weird jet mode that has the like giant undercarriage there. But again, it is what it looks like in the movie. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead, get him out of the box, and we'll take a closer look. So here is Starscream with the backdrop piece that is included. It's pretty much the same one that came with Soundwave. We've definitely seen this one used before for Bumblebee figures. It looks okay. I mean, he kind of has a hard time fitting in it just because his wings kind of extend back so much. You can see how far they really extend back. I mean, if you want, you can bring them in a little bit. You kind of have minimal options. Either they're all the way in like that, or they kind of naturally flock back like that. I think it looks better with them back. But as a result, he doesn't fit that well in the space, but they did include the backdrop, and it looks okay. So here is Starscream out of the packaging, and looking at the robot mode, I like it. I think the robot mode definitely works. It's definitely my favorite out of the two modes. Very G1 accurate color scheme, so I think it's kind of a fun update. I never really liked the original Starscream from the first movie. It was just kind of a big silver rectangle shape, and I never really liked that. This is definitely like a movie aesthetic, but still harkening back to the G1 aesthetic as well with the color scheme. So I like this. I think this is a nice balance. I really do like this robot mode. I like the way the wings kind of angle back. I think that looks kind of sharp. You have these cannons here that you can store on the wings. This one's kind of loose on mine. But you can just take them off. I mean, if you want to store them there, you can. If you want to put them off to the side, you can. Unfortunately, there's no way to like mount them to the arms or something to kind of get that null ray feel. Don't really have anything like that. He does come with this gun, which I would argue is a little bit more instrumental in the vehicle mode, but he can hold it. You can see that there's a peg underneath here. And this is just a, I think it's solid blue, and then this part is painted black, because the black would be easier to cover the blue than vice versa. But you can go ahead and just peg that into his hand, and he can hold this as a gun. Now, I know a lot of times with the movie designs, they have these guns that kind of like seamlessly integrate into the arm. Not really the case here. It does just kind of look like he's holding a gun. It's not terrible, but it's just not that great. I wish that kind of integrated more into the hand and looked more seamless than it does. But again, you have a weapon here. This will definitely come into play more in the vehicle mode, so I'm going to go ahead and sit that off to the side. But yeah, he looks good. I like the head sculpt. Very menacing. You have some nice silver paint there for the face, and those red eyes look really sharp. Nice black paint there for the head. The head can just turn side to side. I don't think it's a ball joint because I can't really get much. I mean, it kind of bobs a little bit down, but then kind of springs right back. So I think it's really just a swivel. I don't think there's anything else going on there with the head. You do have a swivel here in the shoulder, as well as a hinge out to the side. Bicep swivel, I would say a little over 90 degrees there in the elbow. Nothing in the wrist because they fold into the forearm for transformation. Down here in the waist, you do have a swivel. You kind of have to go behind this like crotch plate, but there is a swivel there at the waist. Really nice range of motion in the hips. You can kick really far forward. Can't really kick back because of the wings, but you can kick out to the side. You might think that this red piece kind of gets in the way, and I guess it does to some extent, but you can still get a pretty good kick out to the side. You do, of course, have a thigh swivel right there, and then you do have, I would say at least 90 degrees there in the knee, and then, of course, you do have some ankle tilt as well. So some nice articulation, and like I said, I really do like the robot mode. I think it looks pretty sharp. But yeah, overall, I really do like the robot mode quite a bit. Some nice silver paint and detail up there as well. Silver paint down here on the thighs. Silver paint on the inside of the forearms. And then you kind of have this like dual canopy thing going on here where it almost looks like his head is coming out of the canopy there, but then you also have it down here in the torso as well. Does not open up, as we'll see later on in vehicle mode, but not a big deal. But yeah, pretty cool. I like him a lot. Let's go ahead and get into the transformation. So the transformation is not too difficult. It's fairly intricate because there's a lot of panels moving around and everything like that. You'll see what I mean as we get into it. So the first thing you do, you have these like struts here, these little black things. And I don't really know what purpose they serve, but you have to go ahead and just kind of click them down. Now, technically, you could leave them down all the time if you want. And they're kind of a pain to flip back out for the robot mode. So if you like the aesthetic of them just staying in all the time, you absolutely could do that because they don't really serve a purpose. I think they're just aesthetic, but you just push those down to start off. Then we're going to go ahead and fold those fists back into the forearms. And then we are going to rotate at the bicep 180 degrees. So we will repeat the process over here. Straighten out the arm if you have it bent. And then rotate that 180 degrees. You're going to come here to the wings. You're going to flip this panel up like so. And then you're going to rotate this here at this little like ratchet joint 180 degrees. So we're going to flip this up. And if you have these like winged out, you can technically leave them like this if you like that better. But if you have these flipped out, you're going to want to push those back in as you rotate this around. So I did forget to do that on that side. So there we go. You're going to come to the legs. You're going to flip out these panels. Basically, the entire blue shin area is going to flip out to the side and flip back like that. Bring the arms up so that they're not in the way while we're doing this. We're going to flip this one. Now, this one has kind of a back fin attached to it that this one doesn't have. So just make sure as you're flipping this around, you bring that fin piece with you. You're going to go ahead and flip the feet into this cavity here, like so. You're going to flip this section up, and you want to make sure you have the legs all straightened out. So if you have them bent at the knees at all, make sure you have them completely straight. You can see that there is a little tab slot here on the side of the leg, and that is where this tab right here is going to go. So we're going to flip this up, and then that's going to kind of tab in right there against the leg. So we're going to do that again over here and tab that in. We are going to flip this out to the side, and then we are going to bring this piece from the back and flip this around so that that can just kind of sit there like so. At this point, we're going to flip these pieces down. If we spin this around, you can see that these are going to kind of fill in this empty space here. So that's going to kind of go in there and just kind of fill in that empty space, which is nice. So that's going to go in there like that. Then we are going to, if you have this piece moves a lot, this kind of crotch plate. Just by handling the figure, I guarantee you're going to push it in at least once just by accident. But if you don't already have it pushed in, you want to go ahead and push that all the way back as far as that'll go. Then you're going to rotate these at the thigh 90 degrees like so. So we're going to rotate that in like that and just kind of leave them like this for now. We're going to take the head section here, grabbing a hold of this, and just kind of rotate this back, and that will allow us to rotate this entire back red section. Now you want to make sure that the wings will clear the thighs, because sometimes that can be a problem. Just be careful, but you want to make sure you can clear that and rotate this section all the way down. There we go. At this point, we're going to come to this little section here and split this apart, so that way we can flip out the nose cone, and that will come up and snap into place. And sometimes this can take a little bit, and it's mostly just because it's hard to grab onto. But you can see here that there's kind of like a little tab, and you want to make sure that that clicks into place. So there we go, we have that done. At this time, we're going to take the arms and rotate these around. So they're going to unhook, and then this is going to flip around, and just make sure you have this stuff. We probably want to move this around a little bit more so that these parts aren't in the way. And then we're going to rotate this inside here and do the same with the other arm. That's going to rotate around like so. Now the directions say that the two forearms have a tab so that they tab together at this point. I don't have them on mine. I don't know if that was something they changed later on or if there's something wrong with mine, but neither of my forearms, like if you look at this, let me zoom in here. there's supposed to be like a tab here, because if you look at this forearm, there's a little spot here where it looks like a tab might go, but there's definitely no tab there. So I don't know what that's about. But if yours also doesn't have a tab, then you're going to want to just bring these in like so. And then you want to bend these at the elbow to bring these all the way in and store them underneath like that. And then at this point, you can bring these down and push these back together like so. And that'll just kind of hang out right there. At this point, we're going to bring the wings down, put them in place. We're going to bring the two legs together, and it can be a little difficult to kind of figure out where this is all supposed to go, because sometimes when you want to go ahead and push these together, it's a little difficult to do so. But you want to tab this into this section here. So just kind of push them together so you can get that to happen. And then there are these two little panels here that are going to flip around and just fill up that last little bit of negative space there. Now mine don't stay together all that well, and sometimes I find it's because I don't have them at the right angle. So if you kind of bring that section down, and then you can kind of push these together, you can see how the teeth kind of interlock. But I don't know, mine doesn't love to stay together. Like if I push it together like this, they tend to flip up. So you kind of have to push them down and not push here too much, kind of push here to make them stay together. So at this point, there are two tabs, and maybe you can see them underneath there. There's one, there's the other. They're going to tab into this red section here, so you kind of bring this in, and this should tab into place. Sometimes it's a little hard to line them up. I think those are tabbing in. I feel like this whole section's a little off. Maybe I don't have the angles right. And then you're just going to push this up here, and that just kind of hides back there. There's not really much more to it than that. And you're pretty much done at this point. There we go. So that's pretty much your jet. You're going to take that weapon piece that I talked about earlier, and you can see that there's two tabs here, and there's a big tab there, and that is for the two tab spots right there, and then this tab spot right here. So you kind of push this in, and then this will, you know what, I don't think I have this down in the correct angle. Let me bring this down. There we go. And now I can go ahead and tab this in there, and that in here. And there you go. There is your jet mode. It's a little wonky. Like I said, I really didn't care for it at first. I didn't know if it was something they just kind of made up, and I didn't know why they put all this kibble underneath here, but it really is the design in the movie, so they had to find a way to make it work, so I guess I can forgive it. It's grown on me a little bit. I still think it's a little weird. Like I said, I definitely like the robot mode better out of the two, but it's here. It's serviceable. As I'm knocking pieces apart over here. I really wish those arms tabbed into each other, and maybe I'm completely missing it, but I've really looked at it for a while, and I do not see a tab on those forearms to keep that together. It just doesn't really happen, so I don't know. I'll bring this part down. There we go. There we go. I think that's it. There we go. So it's an interesting vehicle mode. Still not my favorite, but I'm liking all the other Bumblebee figures so much that it kind of by association makes me like this more, just because that, for, you know, first 10-15 minutes of that movie is so cool, and all the different designs and everything. So like I said, it's growing on me a little bit, but it's definitely still not my favorite. It can stand on its own pretty well though, so I do appreciate that. Oh, I almost forgot, you can bring those other guns back in, and they have these tabs on them, and they can go into these tab slots right here and here. So we just take this and tab it in right here, and the tab slots actually do fit really nice and snug. So while it was a little loose earlier on, this actually tabs in pretty nicely. And now you go, he's got 3 guns ready to do battle. So I like Starscream a lot more than I thought I was going to, but truth be told, it's mostly for the robot mode. Like I said, I've been having a lot of fun getting all the other figures they've been doing for the pre-Cybertron modes in that first 10 to 15 minutes of Bumblebee, and because I liked all those so much, I really wanted to fill out the ranks of the Decepticons, because I think before Starscream, the only one I had was Soundwave. Speaking of which, let's go ahead and get a little side-by-side comparison here with Soundwave. They look good together, so ultimately I'm very happy I decided to pick them up, because I am definitely happy to have a few more Decepticons from that first few moments of the movie. But I really think, like I said, the robot mode is what's doing it for me. I love the color scheme, articulation's good, just kind of a neat G1 aesthetic, nicely married with the movie aesthetic. I think they actually did a really nice job with this. The vehicle mode is alright. That is actually what it looks like in the movie, so it's a weird design, not my favorite, but the toy's pretty faithful to it. The transformation is not that difficult. It's kind of intuitive, especially once you do it once or twice. It's kind of easy to figure out. But yeah, ultimately, I'm glad I decided to pick them up. Still haven't decided if I'm going to pick them up as thrust or not yet. We'll have to wait and see how that goes, maybe if there's a sale or something. But definitely glad I got at least one of this mold. I have Starscream here to kind of add to the ranks of my pre-Cybertron mode Decepticons. So we'll have to see if he makes an appearance in the next Bumblebee movie. I think a sequel for that is happening eventually. I don't think Rise of the Beast is a direct sequel to that, but I could be wrong. Who knows at this point? I don't know that Hasbro knows at this point. But in any case, this is a pretty cool figure. If you can find it for a decent price, and you've been collecting all the other Bumblebee figures, I recommend grabbing them and adding them to your collection, because it'll make for a really nice display. So let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Please like, share, and subscribe. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and as always, thanks so much for watching.